And welcome back to Beyond the Loch. We are here at the Loch Ness Hub, ready for our first conversations of 2026. We will be talking to lots of really interesting people from the community and the local area, and we can't wait to share these conversations with you. But to start us off for our very first episode of the year, we will be looking back on all of our highlights of 2025. So let's go! In January, we were thrilled to launch our partnership with Fish Loch Ness, teaming up with local expert and business owner Stuart McDonald to showcase the incredible boat fishing experiences he offers on Loch Ness. Fast forward to summer 2025, we welcomed Stuart as a guest on Beyond the Loch and joined him on his boat. Here's what he had to say about what makes fishing on Loch Ness truly special.
What does fishing on Loch Ness mean to you, Stuart?
Oh, it means everything to me. I see Loch Ness as the biggest stage in the world. It's not the biggest loch in Scotland. It's second to Loch Morar, but you know you've got the experience of trying to come out here to look for the Loch Ness monster. You can come out here to you can try and catch a big fish.
Yeah.
All the while you're out here, you've got all the scenery around. There's wildlife, birds, all sorts of things. So yeah, and I think I've got a couple of little stories to keep people laughing as well.
That's always important. It's always important. Stuart, I'm sure one of the questions that everyone is wondering, the various species of fish that are in Loch Ness, can you tell our viewers a little bit about those?
Yeah, certainly. So I'll start off with the mighty Atlantic salmon. We're fishing for salmon at the moment. Nothing seems to be taking the baits at the minute, but we hope that might change. So we have 9 species of fish in Loch Ness that people actively go for. We have the second behind the Atlantic salmon. We have the mighty ferrex trout. Mm-hmm. They're large piscivorous trout. They eat lots of everything else in the loch. Okay. I believe Loch Ness holds a Scottish record, and I intend to try and get it one day. One of my clients. We have brown trout. We've got sea trout, a few pike, a few perch, a few big eels, 2 species of Arctic char. The Arctic char is the only fish I've not caught in Loch Ness.
Okay.
And there's all the smaller fish. There's the lampreys, the sticklebacks and the minnows.
In February, we launched our digital Highland cow sponsorships. Now you can support the cows you meet in our cow tour from anywhere in the world. Every sponsorship helps care for the cows and protects Highland farming traditions. We're so excited that people from all over the world are joining in. Here's Ian, the croft owner, telling us all about the cows when we visited for Beyond the Loch.
Ian, can you tell us about why you started the Highland Cow Tours and when you perhaps thought about the idea, bringing it together and inviting people to what is your family home here above Loch Ness?
We looked at other ways of making a little bit of extra money to keep the croft going. This is what you call a croft in the Highlands, and the best way to describe a croft is it's too big for a hobby and too small for a living. So we're always looking for extra ways to earn money, basically to buy extra food for all the animals. We've got cattle and sheep and horses on this croft, and we've tried different ways of doing it, but like most things, over a whisky we decided to give this a try. Opened up the place to invite people to come and meet our Highland cows.
We were thrilled to launch our community podcast series Beyond the Loch in February, recording the stories and history of our local area. Each episode highlights local life, tourism, and the people who make our region so unique.
And here's our first guest, Elizabeth McIntosh. She shares her insights into the people and traditions behind Highland tourism, giving a real sense of what keeps life in the Highlands thriving all year round.
We always said that tourism is everybody's business, so everybody's involved in it whether they like it or not, and we hope that this would mean that people in the community would welcome visitors to the area and showcase the wonderful place that we live in.
Absolutely. Yeah, just again for our viewers, the Visit Scotland former owners of the Visitor Information Centre took decision to close in 2018, and it was that point that the community decided to take advantage of Scottish Government policy in terms of a community asset transfer. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting that even over that period of time that As you say, tourism is everyone's business, and the importance of retaining and promoting tourism within the small community. As I think you and probably your good friend Willie Cameron and others at the time came up with the phrase more than a monster, and I think that still applies today.
It does, yeah.
We're at the hub here trying to move in a sustainable direction with things like our e-bike hire, and working with local crofters, providing authentic tours, giving people a real sense of community when they come here. Perhaps looking back, Liz, just maybe talking a little bit about how you feel the face of tourism has perhaps changed in the time of Visit Scotland having the centre and now.
Yeah, I certainly think for the better. I think it's wonderful, the tours, the Highland Coo tours. I think it's amazing how that has taken off, and going out to an actual farm and seeing them in situ. It's not like hunting for Nessie, which is they're actually seeing them and an actual farmer there with them. I think it's wonderful. So I think that has changed. The other good thing is, many years ago, it was very prescriptive. You were ruled by rules, if you like, whereas now it's a little bit more flexible. Well, for instance, with the Highland Coo tours, so from that angle, certainly, I think we've moved on.
March saw the start of the baggage transfer season for our long-distance hikers. As a community-owned company, we love helping walkers explore trails like the Great Glen Way, African Tail Way, East Highland Way and Loch Ness 360.
Our friendly drivers transport your luggage safely between stops so you can travel light and enjoy the stunning scenery, local culture and the adventure of walking these iconic Highland routes.
In March, we were so pleased to receive the Green Heroes Award for 2025, chosen by public vote as a celebration of our commitment to sustainable and responsible tourism here around Loch Ness. As a community-led organisation, we champion slow, eco-friendly travel, support local businesses and help protect the natural beauty that makes this area so special. It's a huge honour and we're incredibly grateful to everyone who voted. Thank you for recognising the work we do to care for this place that we all love.
In April, we were proud to work with Gurkha on their incredible campaign to save the Glen Urquhart Public Hall. After securing $1.2 million in funding, the community faced one final challenge, raising £300,000 in just 30 days to unlock the support already in place.
The hall is the heart of the village, a place for classes, celebrations, youth groups and everyday connections. We supported the campaign through digital and social media content to help share their story, and we're delighted to say the refurbishment was completed in February 2026. A huge congratulations to everyone involved in such a fantastic community achievement.
We also had the pleasure of speaking to local legend Willie Cameron on Beyond the Loch. Known by many as Mr. Loch Ness, his passion is all about connection, making sure tourism benefits the people who live here while sharing the traditions of Glen Urquhart and Drumnadrochit with the world. Here's what he had to say about getting started in the tourism industry.
Willie, lastly, you have supported so many people through tourism, and I'm sure you get asked this question many times, and being the exemplar in terms of being an entrepreneur, along with your business partners. If there is any youngsters out there who have an initiative or are entrepreneurial, and considering coming into the tourism industry, what advice would you give them?
Well, there's lots and lots of opportunities. There's an amazing amount of opportunities. It's getting so diverse. Experiential tourism is people want to be with the people of the area. They want to be with the culture of the area. They want to learn things. They want to help. They want to volunteer. Volunteerism is huge now, huge. And people want to be part of it. So the opportunities for young people in the village, whether they be into wood carving, whether they be into painting, whether they be into musicians, to teach somebody how to play the violin or the fiddle or whatever, there's lots and lots of opportunities over and above the direct hospitality business. And as far as I'm concerned, hospitality's been great for me. It's put food in my mouth, clothes on my back, and it's been fascinating. I've been around the world. Excuse me, around the world. I've had 2 trips to China, been out in Dubai. I was in Spain a couple of years ago at the Myths and Legends conference, and the amazing thing was, out of all the myths and legends from all around the world, and the one story that the press, the TV, the radio were wanting to speak about was the Loch Ness Monster.
In May, local hero Pat Veach joined us as a guest on Beyond the Loch. We spoke about her incredible volunteer work, from organising the village flowers to the lasting impact she's had on the community.
Pat was a fantastic guest on our series where we celebrated volunteers, and Pat's dedication has helped shape the heart of the village, bringing people together and leaving a lasting legacy. Let's take a look at Pat's interview.
It brings me on nicely to talking about From the Drogheda in Bloom, the Flower Forum. If we start with the Bloom, which I know again you won accolades for, your involvement in that and how that maybe started, and again why. You've touched on the beauty aspect already, but
well, we started off very early. There was a huge flood, and of course Drum was in an awful mess, and the first time we could ever get anything we thought we'll have some flowers, so we started with a few very small hanging baskets and a hose that came from the Curly's place in number 1 on the green, and we had 3 or 4 different people volunteering every day, including Desmond. He was every day because he came out regularly. Desmond Macmillan, he was a great stalwart, he was a great man, he loved his roses, but he had a terrible stutter, but he was all right when he spoke to him normally. He was a very good stalwart, so that was the start of it. And then what happened thereafter, we decided that we could do our hanging baskets and put them into the floral hall, which was just being constructed. It was in its primary state. And then eventually got caught up in the floral hall as well. Worked there for a while, but also used it as a place of help to get our flowers going.
fantastic. Yeah, again, it's always good to reflect on some of those stalwarts that are perhaps forgotten or even unknown by some of our viewers and listeners.
We were absolutely delighted to welcome the new Destination Director of Visit Inverness Loch Ness, Ellen Fogel-Walker, to Beyond the Loch in June. We spoke about her journey from the United States to the Highlands and what makes Loch Ness such a special place to be. Here's Ellen sharing what it was like the very first time she saw Loch Ness.
For me, Loch Ness is always about coming back to the water, and I think us looking towards what we have in terms of our views of that and connecting back to it. I remember it being my first wow moment when I came here as a visitor is when we opened out onto Loch Ness, and it was a dreich day. It was dark, it was wet, and it was in June, but it was amazing. And I remember that really cementing that moment in time where I thought, wow, something's here, and I don't know what it's going to be, but I want to see more of this place. And that stuck with me, and coming into this role now, what I see as our future is making sure that we can protect that sense of wildness that we have about Loch Ness. And we say that it's more than a monster. Yeah, we're wild, we're natural, we're beautiful, we're all the things that a monster is and what Nessie means to the world as well. That sense of mystique that we have about us. And as we move into the future, it's making sure that we can also protect that for future generations as well. So it's how do we work together between businesses to protect that sense of place? How do we help it from not growing out of control and becoming its own monster, and controlling tourism numbers, etc., in a sustainable way so it doesn't get too much for us.
In July, it was fantastic to see so many visitors enjoying our e-bike hire. From exploring local viewpoints and village paths to heading out along scenic forest trails, our e-bikes made it easy for everyone to discover more of the Highlands. Let's take a look at where some of our cyclists explored. In August, we are thrilled to be a part of the Glen Urquhart Highland Gathering and Games, a true community-run celebration of Scottish culture right here on the shores of Loch Ness. The event brings together athletes, families and locals to enjoy heavy events, piping, Highland dance and more, and this year was extra special.
Glen Urquhart made history hosting the first ever World Female Heavy Events Championship. We worked with the Games team to cover the build-up and the day itself alongside local documentary makers and the BBC's The One Show with Des Clark. And here's what the committee and the athletes had to say about their experience.
Just been incredible.
This is just one of the most phenomenal things we've ever experienced.
The community spirit around the games is something to behold.
It's a crowd today, yeah, can't go wrong.
We're made to feel part of it and that nobody's left behind.
In September, we were thrilled to launch the inaugural Loch Ness and Glen Affric Gravel Sportive. Over 100 riders from across the UK and Ireland tackled 55 miles of stunning Highland trails and forest tracks. This is a community-run event led by passionate volunteers from Glen Urquhart and Strathglass. Every pedal celebrated not just the scenery, but the heart and spirit of our local community, and we can't wait to be back for 2026.
So one thing with all these community-run events that they are nothing without volunteers, and we've got an army of volunteers out here today. We're up in Balnain in the heart of Glen Urquhart. I'm standing beside Susan, who's chair of Glen Urquhart Rural Community Association. The community does so much through the work of Gurkha, as they're known. Susan, can you maybe just tell our viewers what these community-run events mean and what it will mean if we manage to create a legacy for paths and trails throughout Glen Urquhart and Strathglass?
So first of all, it's about that community spirit, bringing people together in the community to create an event which showcases not just our community, but the area and the beauty of where we live and what it's got to offer for everybody.
In October, we celebrated the end of our first season working with castle cruises on Loch Ness. From small group tours past Urquhart Castle to local stories shared by Skipper Ali, it's been amazing bringing the loch to life for visitors.
We even joined Ali on his boat for an episode of Beyond the Loch, getting an insider's view of what makes these cruises so special. A huge thanks to everyone who joined us. We can't wait to welcome you back in spring 2026.
Can you maybe tell our viewers what makes castle cruises so special?
Well, I think first of all, this is a new boat for us, so getting the boat right for passengers is important. And then we're limited to 12 passengers, so it's an intimate experience. I do a live talk all the way around. I'm standing in front of the guests. We're interacting. We're asking questions. We're showing sonar equipment. We're talking about the things we've done over the years that maybe other people haven't done. So it's very intimate, I think, is the first thing. Hopefully educational as well, because Loch Ness is an interesting place in very many ways. So, it's not all about monsters, there's a lot of other things about Loch Ness, which I like to talk about, which, I find really interesting. And people seem to enjoy that kind of, that environment of being intimate, of being personal. We don't do audio tapes and people just have to listen and stuff. It's all fully interactive, question and answers, get the kids involved. That's the thing for me, the kids. Sometimes the kids come here and they have a wealth of knowledge of Loch Ness. They've done the research, they've done watched all the YouTube videos and everything you can imagine, and they come up and ask me some really quite difficult questions sometimes. So inspiring those kids to keep that interest and that interest in nature and the environment is really what does it for me. So that's my motivation.
In November, we were delighted to be joined by Kenny Fraser, passionate whisky enthusiast and owner of the fantastic new Drum whisky shop in Drumnadrochit. Recorded on location at the shop, Kenny shares his journey, his love for Scotland's national drink, and what makes the Drum whisky shop special for locals and travellers alike. Let's take a look at Kenny sharing his passion for whisky and the magic of the Highlands, one dram at a time.
Kenny, if we could maybe come back to the home we talked about earlier here in Drumnadrochit on the shores of Loch Ness, home for you as a child. Can maybe for our viewers tell us how important it was for you to keep your business rooted here in the Loch Ness community?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I grew up in the area, and my dad was born in Drumlone in the house. To give you an idea about. I think my gran moved here, and Gran Fraser, she moved here by boat. She told me there wasn't a road, so it gives you so this is always home to me. And you always want a lot of people that I know that have gone away into the world. A lot of them have come back, self included. And I'm just really glad I have an opportunity now to share my passion with whisky with people from around the world. I did it in Edinburgh, why can't I do it here? And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this job. I quite enjoy working at Loch Ness Centre, but the Thai whisky kind of brought me back, and it's something I feel that I'm strongly comfortable telling people I'm doing. So it's important for me to do it at home.
In December, we wrapped up another busy month of transferring school meals from the local high school to the primary school. Our team are proud to provide this service throughout the year for local pupils and are on hand every day to help. Let's take a look at the team in action, keeping school days running smoothly. We hope you enjoyed our look back at 2025. That wraps up the year, and we can't wait to share even more stories, adventures and highlights from the Highlands in 2026. Make sure to follow us on our socials to stay up to date with all the latest happenings at the Hub. There's plenty more to come.